Okay, welcome back to the harmonic Dunun series. We're going to get back into it after a brief hiatus, and we're going to start at the beginning alphabetically. A, Abondon, rhythm from the Ivory Coast, and I'm just going to get right into it, and then I'll talk about stuff later. Here we go. For the combo pair, the pairs now. This pair is a little harder, so we'll take it slow. Pretty hard to do all that. It would be hard to keep going for a long time doing that too. But theoretically, I did want to point out for myself and the rest of you as well, that if you were playing this traditionally, although you would be putting your strong hand on this kinkini like this, somebody would expect you to do that for a long time. Now, weak hand, a little harder, but theoretically we can all work on a weak hand so that it's as strong as a strong hand. There's that, but then the other thing is that it's just coordination, right? So I encourage you, and I'm encouraging myself to go for it. You know, try and get this super fast and for a long time. It's great training. And so there's two different kinds of stamina in my mind. One is coordination stamina, or difficulty, maybe I should say. It's difficult to keep the coordination when you go fast, but then it's difficult physically to actually have your muscles and your technique and everything be smooth enough and light enough and strong enough to keep going. So like I said, if you were doing this by yourself, going with your strong hand, you should be able to do that for a long time. you know, or you can work your way up to it. So what's the difference between doing it? It's just the same amount of notes in a different hand, but it's like, so then you come to the coordination stamina issue or speed issue, speed wall, where it's not any more work here than it is doing this. But trying to keep it all coordinated, it's a bit of a challenge. And then of course this hand is doing a lot of work too. Both hands are doing a lot of work, as opposed to doing like more of a ballet style where you might go. So all I'm trying to say is, if you work at it, it'll certainly help your technique and your skills and your coordination. I'm not saying that you're gonna take this in a week of hard work and go start ripping it out at a jam session or a dance class, but as always with this harmonic Dunun series, you know, it's meant to help our understanding and our coordination and our skills, not necessarily to play them all fast and long. So you have to have other options. So on that note, I want to talk to you about some of the options to make it easier if you're going faster and longer. So I just want to get into a couple different ballet style ways that you could slip into or start with if you had a fast session to play, right? So one is the one that Faratono teaches in some of his materials, which sounds like this. Different handings, whatever works best for you, because it's a little bit up to us how we decide to switch back and forth to divide some of the work on the big drum, right? Because you either have it an easy go here and then a quick jump on either one side or the other. Different ways to do it. So work out the best for you. Next one I like to do, I often do by mistake because I'm hearing the muffs from the songbon part, and I put that timing here. So almost the same, but with the timing that goes right from the songbon member. So we have. This one is maybe a little harder, but if you're interested in mimicking the original, which is not even the original because this is a Baoulé rhythm, I'll get into that later, from Ivory Coast. It's not a Dunun and Jembe rhythm. It's been adapted, like many of them have. But anyway, you could put the upbeats over here instead of all of them, just some in that little space, right? So something like this. So you see, though, I'm using my right hand to do all of this, and I've experimented with different versions with two of the upbeats, either just before the main drum or on the other side of the rhythm. I'm not going to present all that and get into it because you end up using this hand so much. It's still cool, but I want to keep the video short. So, but those are ideas, you know, ways that you can make different grooves out of it. And remember, these things are, if you play drum set, cool, put it on drum set. Put it on piano if you can find a way, or guitar. This isn't, the point of this is to show ways to combine these really interesting traditional rhythms. Okay, but other thing on the drum set idea, or you might have seen one of my other videos I had, some of my other videos I had either a drum set bass drum or a traditional bass drum with my foot. I thought about doing that here, especially for this rhythm, because you just go boom, boom, boom. So then you could play the bell with one hand and some of the other parts with the other hand. The reason I decided not to do that is I wanted the bell, which you can hear, you can't see, just to kind of have less drums, less bass drums in there so that we can use it for the timing and not go down that road, but that's another direction you could go. Okay, another way you might have seen I left another drum here. And that's another way to kind of play a lot of it, but make it easier is instead of putting the muffs here, which take a lot of energy, eventually make your hand hurt or get tired, I'm putting them as an open stroke here. Now, some traditional players will say, no, it has to be a muff sound. And that's cool. I don't argue with that. And the muff sounds really good. But let's face it, sometimes when we adapt things to the ballet set, that's one of the things to do is to just put the muff on another drum. Usually you just have the three, but in this case, I put a fourth one so that we can, stretch it out a little. So something like that. Let's just put it with the ballet style here. In the interest of fullness, let's try it out. All the upbeats here, and this hand doing all that, okay? I also want to say this is from the Baoulé people of central Ivory Coast. I lived there for 4 years, and I definitely went to some ballet village celebrations and some drumming and played along a little. Didn't do Abondon as far as I remember. It's been a lot of years ago, but it is a rhythm for the king, for celebrating the king. It's not widely recorded. Mamadi Keita puts some of the djembe part from it in on his first album, connected to Tiriba. He kind of makes it like a breakdown, a funky change in pace, but it doesn't say even Abondon on the label or on the name of the song. Baoulé people are Akan people, so related to a lot of the Akan people are from Ghana. Like the Ashanti and others. So, like many of the rhythms that you find in the Jembe and Dunun repertoire, this is not a Jembe Dunun piece. This is from another ethnic group that uses different drums and different instruments. But because it's in the larger area, close to the Manding area, it's been absorbed because it's an absorptive tradition. Not unlike European classical music, where the orchestra takes different ethnic traditions from, say, Eastern Europe or Turkey or different places usually within that area, different Russian traditions, whatever, and somebody composes works for the orchestra that kind of draws on that. It's good to know that with this repertoire. Sometimes it's from other ethnic groups, and they deserve every bit of respect as the Jembe Dunun repertoire. And let's think of playing their repertoire as respectful. Like, hey, that's really cool. I'm gonna adapt it to my instrument. You know what I mean? Kind of like a guitar player would learn a cello piece or something like that. With that in mind, let's just remember that these parts don't go way back to the beginning. I'm almost certain when I've been in ballet areas and Akan areas in Ghana, it's not each Dunun player, there's not even Dunun, but each bass drum player plays a bell and then they interlock. Djembes, all of that has been modified to present the rhythm within this instrumental context. So keep that in mind. I'm taking these parts mostly from what Mamadi Keita taught, and so take it with a grain of salt, but enjoy it. It's great music, and just know that it's an adaptation That's all for now. Have fun and get creative and get in the groove.